The heavy thud of empty shipping containers echoes across silent ports as the global insurance market flatlines. Your LED screen flickers, then dies. Within 96 hours, a $4 trillion tech economy dematerializes under Beijing's sovereign mineral blackout. Your bank account is a digital ghost haunting a hollow chassis. The 1971 Nixon shock is finally at your door, debt collector demanding the gold we traded for thin air. To survive, you must master the chemistry of the seed. The factory floor went cold. The chemical vats were drained, and while we slept, the monopoly on the future shifted 7,000 miles to the east. To understand Trump's $12 billion project vault, you have to stop looking at it as a stockpile and start seeing it as a life support system. In 1974, when the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was born, we were fighting for volume, for the crude sludge that moves engines. But the 2026 mineral siege is a war of molecular sovereignty. We aren't just low on dirt, we have forgotten how to refine our own blood. The architects of this dependency weren't foreign invaders. They were the boardroom ghouls of the late 90s. These supply chain technocrats traded the industrial spine of the American heartland for the temporary sugar high of offshore dividends. They dismantled our high-purity labs and shipped the chemistry of war to Beijing, convincing the public that globalization was a peace treaty. It wasn't. It was a slow-motion surrender of our physical reality. The current Project Vault is a frantic $12 billion attempt to pierce the digital Iron Curtain. In the world of semiconductors and advanced guidance systems, raw ore is useless. The only currency that matters is the 5N purity standard 99.999% molecular perfection. Beijing doesn't need to sink our carriers, they simply need to withhold the high-purity chemical baths required to maintain them. Without these refined atoms, our multi-billion-dollar bank servers and F-35s are nothing more than expensive scrap metal. We are a nation of paper architects who have been evicted from the physical world. As the 2026 trade corridor slams shut, the $12 billion vault is the only thing standing between the American economy and a total systemic blackout. The lavender-scented lobbies of Palo Alto glowed with the promise of a frictionless future. We basked in the blue light of our screens scrolling through the false peace of the 2000s, while our industrial reality was being dismantled for parts. For every sleek, air-conditioned office we built in Silicon Valley, a refinement lab in Pennsylvania saw its hinges rust shut. For every viral app we launched, the weed-choked parking lots of Ohio's processing centers grew thicker. We chose the scroll, we chose the swipe, and while we were distracted by the digital dopamine of a borderless world, Beijing was buying the ground beneath our feet. The 2001 WTO Betrayal was the Trojan horse of the century. We traded the chemistry of war for the economics of convenience, handing over our molecular sovereignty in exchange for $200 laptops and cheap dividends. Now, in 2026, the bill is due, and it's being collected via the metadata lock. This is no longer a trade dispute. It is a digital border force living inside your operating system. Within the next 96 hours, as the trade war escalates to a total freeze, your hardware will undergo a molecular audit. If your device cannot verify a non-hostile origin for its high-purity minerals, the firmware will execute a sovereign kill switch. Your $200 smartphone doesn't just lose signal, it loses its soul, becoming a legally dead brick of glass and plastic. We are a nation of paper architects who have been evicted from the physical world. The $12 billion vault is a frantic, last-minute attempt to re-anchor a sinking. We wanted the view. We wanted silence. We got the silence, the heavy, suffocating silence of abandoned factories while the East built the future. The tragedy of Trump's $12 billion Project Vault is that it is a ransom payment for a crisis we chose. In the late 1970s, the Carter administration stood at a fatal crossroads following the 1973 oil embargo. We had the blueprints for mineral independence on the desk. We had the Colorado shale and the Mountain Pass rare earth deposits ready for mobilization. But we chose a white-collar betrayal. We allowed the stroke of a DC lawyer's pen to grind the rusted gears of our domestic minds to a halt. We chose environmental aesthetics over strategic survival, effectively committing chemical suicide in the name of a pristine horizon. This was the grit versus glitter dilemma. We rejected the difficult grinding reality of domestic refinement and embraced the seductive glitter of foreign imports. The primary antagonists were the environmental shadow groups, organizations funded by offshore interests that spent 40 years litigating American independence into the grave. For every shovel that attempted to hit the ground in the heartland, a fresh injunction was filed in a mahogany row courtroom. While we were busy protecting the view, Beijing was busy building the high-purity chemical baths that now hold our entire tech economy hostage. We are now a high-tech superpower with the industrial capacity of the 19th century. We have the screens, but we lost the chemistry. The $12 billion vault is a frantic attempt to buy back the industrial spine we let the shadow groups snap decades ago. The certificate vanished. The insurance died. The ships became drifting tombs for the global economy. The first domino is silent. Beijing stops issuing purity certifications for high-grade lithium and cobalt. To the uninitiated, this sounds like a clerical delay. To the world gamer, it is a sovereign cardiac arrest. Without that chemical signature, a shipment of minerals is legally toxic. No maritime insurer at Lloyd's of London will underwrite a cargo of unverified atoms, and no port on Earth will allow it to dock. Beijing hasn't fired a single missile, but they have just decapitated global trade by making it uninsurable. By hour 48, the panic hits the banking floor. Your bank isn't closing because of a cyber attack. It's closing because the trillion-dollar tech loans on its books just lost their collateral. The semiconductors and batteries these banks financed are now worthless scrap metal without the high-purity chemicals required to make them function. As the ghost fleets turn off their transponders mid-Pacific, their ownership papers are being sold to shadow purchasers in a desperate mid-ocean liquidation. This is the calculated credit freeze, a total cessation of the physical flow of wealth that turns your just-in-time lifestyle into a never-again relic. As the 96-hour clock runs down, the digital illusion of wealth hits the brick wall of physical reality. The $12 billion vault is no longer a strategic reserve. It is the only stockpile of legitimate atoms left in a world of uninsurable ghosts. The order was signed, the contracts were swept, and by the time you reached for your phone, the atoms inside it were already owned by someone else. While the public watches the 96-hour countdown like a slow-motion car crash, a high-frequency heist is occurring behind the flicker of Wall Street terminals. This is the digital physical squeeze. On your screen, the market looks like a sea of red digital smoke masking the truth. But in the physical world, the clank of the vault door is closing on the middle class. The $12 billion Project Vault is being marketed as a national shield, but forensically it is the 2026 twin of Executive Order 6102. In 1933, the state seized gold to save a dying currency. Today, the state and its private partners are seizing the physical reality of critical minerals to save a dying tech empire. The true predators are the elite hedge funds ghost-buying the Project Vault advance purchase commitments. They aren't interested in saving your smartphone. They are cornering the chemical toll booths of the new economy. These midstream processors are the only entities that can turn raw, toxic dirt into the 99.999% purity required for survival. By the time the general public realizes the reserve is full, the predators will have secured off-take agreements that supersede all public supply. They hold the physical keys, you hold a digital share of a company that can no longer buy the atoms it needs to build a single circuit board. This is a sovereign heist disguised as a security measure. The $12 billion vault is the mechanism by which the right to compute is being transferred from the citizens to the gatekeepers. The ledger has shifted. 600 years ago, the Medici controlled your life through paper credit. Today, the new Medicis control the atoms. Your smartphone is no longer a tool. It is a digital Zanjir, a chain that only stays unlocked as long as you have permission to access the 5N purity inside it. If you aren't in the vault, you are deleted. The last 55 years were a great detour from the physical world. In 1971, Nixon severed the dollar from gold and let us fly into a dream of infinite abstractions. In 2026, the sovereign trap is snapping shut. Trump is bringing us back to the dirt, forcing a collision between our digital fantasies and the reality of finite minerals. The cycle is complete. Your phone won't update. Your car won't start. Your life is on standby because you don't own the atoms. The $12 billion vault is the new high priest of the economy. It is both the shield for the empire and a leash for the citizens. In this resource insurgency, those who control the refinement baths control the right to function. The 96-hour countdown isn't just a clock, it's an eviction notice from the digital era. You have 7 days to anchor your wealth to the physical world or be liquidated by the silence. The 7-day evocation plan. Move with predatory speed. The metadata lock does not negotiate. Day 1. Purge the pixels. Audit your portfolio for single-point failure tech. If the company relies on a Chinese chemical bath and has no domestic 5N backup, sell it. It is a ghost. Day 3. Seize the midstream. Shift capital into the vault gatekeepers. These are the refinement firms with guaranteed sovereign offtake contracts. They're the only ones allowed to breathe. Day 7. Fortify the chassis. Secure pre-siege hardware and diversify into sovereign-backed mineral debt. Ensure your digital life is anchored to physical, unbrickable atoms. Dependency is the ultimate debt, and the interest is paid in sovereignty. We spent 50 years trading our industrial soul for the glitter of the screen, only to find the screen is a cage. In 2026, you either own the atoms or the atoms own you.